All right, what's up, YouTube? This is Patrick Joy. You're watching Real Men Wear Kilts TV, College Football Edition. We're talking Husker football. This is our pregame show for the Nebraska versus Colorado game this weekend. Nebraska is coming in as a 6.5-point favorite and ranked 29th in the country according to the CBS college football rankings. And Colorado, according to those same rankings, is coming in at 54th. So, pulled up some stats off of CBS's website on this. Let's talk offensive stats first. Nebraska has, so far this year, allowed 284 passing yards. Colorado has allowed 445 passing yards, or has 445 passing yards. Rushing yards, Nebraska has had 223 versus Colorado's 59. Total yards on offense for Nebraska is 507, with Colorado having 504. Very similar total yardage points, or total yardage numbers. However, looking at this, there it's obvious which team is more rounded when it comes to the offense. Going into defense, Nebraska has allowed 56 yards of rushing and 149 yards of passing versus Colorado's 157 yards of rushing allowed and 292 yards of passing allowed. Looking at these numbers, Nebraska has allowed significantly fewer yards on defense and a slight bit more on the total offensive yardage. However, the big difference in the offensive yardage comes in the form of, Nebraska having 223 rushing yards and Colorado having only 49. Or only having 59. Sorry, I misspoke there. Let's talk about the game. So, obviously, Nebraska has a freshman quarterback, true freshman quarterback. This poses a little bit of nervousness. However, looking at both teams' previous games, Colorado, they face an FCS school, which one step down from FBS, which is where Nebraska and Colorado normally play. So it's a division lower. But it was one of the best FCS schools in the country. Colorado barely survived, however. Nebraska played UTEP, which is one of the, I think they're ranked 124th. I'm going to look that up real quick just to make sure. UTEP was ranked like 124th, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, UTEP, 124th. And they actually moved down to, they were going into Nebraska, they were 122nd. Whereas North Dakota State University playing Colorado, they are one of the best teams in the FCS. And, we expect them to perform well, being one of the best teams in the FCS. However, not that well against a team ranked below 100th in the FBS. Or ranked above 100th, I should say. Smaller number. You look at this and you go, UTEP and, at 124th and North Dakota State University being, one of the top teams in the FCS, it makes you really wonder how different they are talent-wise. And honestly, I don't think they're that different talent-wise. I think most teams starting, ranked, in that ranking area should be able to do pretty well in the FCS. So, maybe not. They should be on par at least with a top tier FCS school. Nebraska, it was like 40. It was 40-7. Final score with when Nebraska beat UTEP versus Colorado. I can't remember what the score was, but it was really close. it really highlights a few things. One, Deion Sanders, coach for Colorado. Not saying he's a bad coach, but his approach is, oh, that didn't work. Okay, well, scrap everything, start over with new players, all that stuff. In fact, most of their players, are new to the team, from what I understand, what I've read, and everything. Um, whereas Matt Rule, it's okay, let's make adjustments. Um, honestly, I think Matt Rule is the better coach, and I think this game's going to come down to coaching. Um, Matt Rule did better in the with the transfer portal. He did better in recruiting than Deion Sanders did. Other than Deion Sanders' son being the quarterback, and he's legit, pretty good at what he does, and a couple good receivers. Honestly, that's about all Colorado has on offense. Their defense, I mean, they're good, but are they that good? Um, I'm looking at this game and I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at different reports and different news reports, different things other analysts are saying, and I look at the 6.5 point point spread in favor of Nebraska, and I go, that number seems a little low. I think Nebraska should be more than 6.5 point favorites. Honestly, I could see Nebraska being at least 2 touchdown favorites, at least 14 point favorites. However, going with those numbers, going with just everything, if I stick to the 6.5 point favorite numbers, that means this game's either going to come into a defensive battle or an offensive battle. If it's a defensive battle, I see which relatively low scoring. I see Nebraska winning 21-14. If it's an offensive battle, I see it more like 42-35. However, what I think is going to happen, which is, Nebraska, it seems like the team is designed to wear an opponent down. Wear them down. I think that's what we're going to see in this game. Now, last week, it was a much faster process than what I think is going to happen this week as far as wearing the other team down. But I see Nebraska wearing down Colorado and beginning to pull away somewhere from between halfway through the third quarter to the beginning part of the fourth quarter, somewhere in that time span. I see Nebraska starting to pull away. And even though it's going to be a close, ugly game, up until that point, I think once Nebraska starts to pull away, my honest to God prediction is 42-28 in favor of Nebraska. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be ugly for most of the game. I think it's going to be a nail biter. But I can't see Nebraska losing this game. And I have a hard time seeing Nebraska winning, with I can't see the point. The point spread doesn't make sense to me on this one. I think Nebraska should be a higher amount in favor by more. And I believe that, no matter which one of these three score predictions proves to be the closest, I really see Nebraska potentially breaking into the top 25 this week or the following week as long as we continue winning. This team, there's room for improvement. There's room for them to get better. But honestly, like I said, looking at the numbers, looking at what little of the Colorado game I saw last week, which I only saw like the last little bit, and what I saw from Nebraska, I think this is a team that's only going to get better as the season progresses. And the more I think about it, the more I'm wondering if some of these losses that I predicted don't turn into wins. Um, I'm not saying Nebraska's going to go undefeated. Like, I'm not saying that at all. Um, I don't think we will, but I think it's not unreasonable to think that we might be in the conversation for, at least in the conversation for, um, the Big Ten championship, as well as in the conversation for the playoffs. Ultimately, I think if the team continues to improve and continues to win, I can see Nebraska, with a couple losses here and there, in there. I mean, I can see Nebraska finishing just outside the top 12, which is what you need to be in. You need to be in the top 12 in order to make the playoffs. But I can see Nebraska just outside there, but just outside there, I mean, ranked 13th or 14th in the country. We returned a whole bunch of players from last year. We brought in players to help cover some of the, issues that we had last year, help resolve those issues. Yeah, and like I said, I think it's going to be a great game this week. I mean, I'm trying to take it 1 week at a time. Try not to drink the Kool-Aid yet. I've drank Kool-Aid early on in the season in the past, and it did not work out well for me. But there's something about this team like that feels special. Something about this team that makes you want to believe. Matt Rule has built a culture at Nebraska that and he's continuing to build this culture. Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. You can see I'm back at my desk for these videos. I hope the sound quality is better. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, go Big Red, and let's see what happens. I'm hopefully optimistic.